to just re-echo a few facts about the office of the DPP, because I want, as the office of the DPP, we appreciate the recommendations you make.
No, you want to come back to your communication again? Because let me tell you what we intend to do. Because it's the office of the DPP and what is going on in the country, as we close the audit, we are going to have a little bit of a general discussion about your performance. When you are here, they expect you to answer some ongoing concerns. So can you reserve that at that time? And we deal with the audit.
Okay, Chair. So I'll go straight to item 10. 641 million was not warranted, and there was no impact. Chair, during the financial year, we made savings on rent. We had our regional offices in Mbale, Mbarara, and Soroti constructed. So we shifted from the rented premises and we went to our own premises. We also completed the office in Aleptong, Kamwenge, and some more others, Chibuku. And so we were able to make a saving on rent. So there was no need for us to actually warrant the money, even if we had it, because we had made a saving.
Oh. Now, who is your planner?
He's at the extreme end.
Sir, was that a spontaneous achievement or it was a predictable activity in the year to happen?
Thank you, Chair. Depending on how we do the constructions, it can be predictable, but it can also be spontaneous. So we had anticipated that it could be completed or not completed, that's why we had to cater for it.
Chair, I'm sorry to intervene when a colleague is submitting, but what you are talking about is very unacceptable. You have a running contract, very sure of the timelines, then you cannot, recklessly make such a statement. It doesn't, you have a plan, you have running contracts. For all the contracts, you know when they are beginning and when they are ending. Even if you have extended, you will know the time. So during the time of planning, you will know that in this year, we shall have shifted. So you cannot recklessly, no, it depends. No, that cannot come from a technical officer. Right, Honorable Chair.
Chair.
Can we take on him? Because you see, the part of what we do is to help your departments scale up their performance. Because in our humble view, all this was predicted at the time of budgeting. You knew you will shift, you knew you will complete. Because money is competed for. This money could have saved life in health. But here it was packed up, presumed that it will go to the DPP, and you did not need it. So that's why I take on the planner. The planner ought to have informed you that during this course of the year, these are bound to come on board. And therefore, you don't need this amount of rent. You go through budget framework paper, budget conference, blah, blah, ministerial policy statement, final budget, and we allocate you money that you are sure during the course of the year you will not need. Much as you did not get it, it attracted our attention. It also inflates the budget. So, it's not you, it is the planner. This is just planning.
Chair, thank you very much. I take note of your observation. But if we take an example, of the General's house, we have been anticipating that we are going to enter for it within 1 year. We also take cognizance of the fact that as 100%. So,
what are you saying? Don't go further to comment on that. You see, the question why 100% leads don't come. Agencies are planning poorly. Exactly what you are doing is why you don't have 100% release. Because at the end of the day, the ministry goes through your list of activities and say, This one, they will not need it, and they don't warrant it. The question is in how you allocate mega resources at a macro level, at a micro level, at a macro level of the budget. Just say sorry and we continue.
Sorry, Chair.
Have I solicited it?
Honorable Officer, you should appreciate what we're talking about. You have a contract, you have a contract management plan. You know when a contract begins and when it ends. And even if you anticipate to have an extension, it is known. You cannot claim that, you cannot know when a contract begins and ends. That is why I said my colleague was reckless. And he continues to state, we cannot know. Then that means you don't know what you're supposed to do. Because even if you anticipated that you might not complete in time and you will have an extension, that means you'll plan for it or not. So it's not a matter of saying sorry, but take it in good faith. But when you come for such engagement, it's not a matter of passing time. We are not here to waste time. You are technical officers and you should behave as technical officers.
Can we proceed? You don't need to waste a lot of time with the argument of your comment. You are only here to speak to those things that we want you. Otherwise, your report and your comments speak to themselves.
Okay,
so where we find no problem, we proceed. We are going to go to honorable colleagues 2.332. A small matter, but we know why it came up and we have appreciated it. We are going to question you for the failure to utilize warrants. For example, the 2.734 billion in table 4, but we looked at your response and we think it's okay. It's understandable. So can we go to 3.32?
Yes, Chair.
This is about implementation of output.
Yes, Chair.
And we want you to explain table 5.
Okay.
Honorable colleagues, I hope you are following with my speed. Yeah. We want to explain you to table 5.
Okay.
And to guide you to be precise, all your responses are off the mark. The question, the audit query here is that you got money to do particular activities. You spent all the money for those activities and they were partially done. And each activity had a cost per unit. And therefore, you should have used the money from here, either did a mischarge or a diversion of the money meant to do particular activities. Can you go to item 1 on table 4 for clarity? You are supposed to, I think for the press, I'm being too technical now in this, Nani. This entity had 13 outputs with 227 activities for the year. 3 outputs with the 21 activities and an expenditure of 17.8 billion were fully implemented. 10 outputs with 106 activities worth 23 billion, 23.8 billion were partially implemented. Out of the 106 activities, the entity fully implemented 95, while 11 activities were partially implemented. So we want to take you to the 11 activities that were partially implemented. The first one is that you had an activity committal of 5,000 new general casework cases for trial to the High Court. You only succeeded to commit 1,996 new general casework cases to the High Court. That means the difference you did not do, yet you got a full amount of money for that activity and you spent it. So what you explained to be in your report is academic. So we want, where did you put the money?
Thank you, Chair and members. Chair, 2 billion. So that's...
No, don't even take that route. The 41 billion is the money you got. It's not part of the unwarranted and unfunded. This is money you utilized.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Chair, the money that we got was utilized as per the approved budget and work plan. Now, these activities, one of them was committal of 5,000 cases to the High Court. And Chair, the files that we got were the 1,996, and we committed them. Chair, I want to clarify that much as we projected to have 5,000 new case files to commit, the files that we receive are not determined by us. What we receive from police is what we work on.
Sir, Madam, that's not an audit query that you did 1,900. No, we are not holding you about that. We are asking you, where did you put the money for the 5,000 where you did 199?
Chair, we don't cost money for cases per file. Some of these are just for sanctioning. The officer does not need any money. He sits on his desk, reads the file, and sanctions.
Madam,
Even
that's not
committing.
the way you budget. That's not the way you budget. You had a target
Yes, sir.
of 5,000.
Yes,
You
sir.
costed activities.
So we did not cost per case.
No. Madam, in terms of budgeting, when you say you are going to buy 100 vehicles,
Yes, sir.
okay, and each vehicle has a value, then that's how you come to the totals. And you come here, we give you the money to go and buy 100 vehicles. So you asked for money from Parliament to do 5,000 committals to the High Court, and we gave you the money, and you did 1,900. 3,000 of them you did not. Why did you put the money for those activities, for those cases?
In addition to what you've asked, Madam P gotten the 5,000 cases as you had budgeted. What would have happened if you had gotten the 5,000? What would have happened? Even the other question is, you planned for 5,000 cases and you got only 1,000. What was your basis for planning for the 5,000?
Vice Chair, before we even go for the basis, we are tracing, going to general discussion, we are tracing for the money.
Thank you, Chair and members. Chair, when we are budgeting, we don't cost each case file with money. These prosecutors you see here, we pay them a salary on a monthly basis. So for the cases they handle in terms of sanctioning, committing, we do not give them money to handle the case files. We pay them a salary. So like we don't give them an allowance or anything when they're doing their work on the desk. We only facilitate them if they are going up country. So for the committals, this was an estimate, Chair and members. And like I said, we over-targeted. That is very true, we admit. And going forward, we are saying we are using this financial year's performance to determine what we plan for next financial year. Because we realized we were over-targeting, and yet we had no control over the files that we receive as an office. That is where our dilemma is, Chair.
Madam, at the of these activities, where you are failing, you are targeting 5,000 new cases. And the files that came to you were 1,900.
Yes, sir.
What was the basis from the planner to target 5,000? Sir?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, in a sense of prostitution, prosecuting a case cannot be costed in a sense of a year.
No, the basis for you to say you have a target of 5,000.
Chair, we look at the previous performance.
Okay, exactly. Continue, sir.
But like I said, the previous performance could be 4,000, but what you anticipate to receive in terms of the case files can reduce drastically to 3,000.
Take
or
us-
can increase to.
You are a planner.
Yes, Chair.
Last financial year, how many cases did you, under this activity, deal with?
Last financial year, Chair. I can-
Forget about this audit, the other previous audit. If that's a basis, how many cases did you do under this item?
Chair, I need to check the records.
No, you check. You have your phone. These things are there.
I didn't carry the
No, you came here for audit. Because if that were the basis, then you would have been a plus or minus near the previous number.
Chair, the report I have is not for the other previous year. I have
No,
the
just
one
tell us the previous year. How many cases did you commit? This is, you should have. The other year,
Chair, I
actual.
need to check the records. I didn't carry that report.
Can you call your office? Because this audit, what we are talking about, is the heart of why you are here. Because if you are using the previous experience to guide you to come up with real numbers to input the budget, so what were the other previous years? Did you do 4,000, some 500?
Chair, I don't want to say the number which I
No,
don't
just-
have of head. I don't have the figure of head, Chair. But I
Can you try to get it?
Yeah, if I went to office, I would get it.
No, not going to office now. So you came to do what?
Chair, I'm looking at, we came with the report that is under.
You anticipated, this is a query. You anticipated it. And you even attempted to give a response. That means you are, if you are thorough, you would have now looked at, because this is a question of, at this level, you are not before the committee of legal. That's why you get your monies. Sector committee, where you go into all manners of explanations. Here we come here to count for money.
Honorable Chair, how I wish we can pick interest in is failure to meet the target is attributed to the following. Number one, delayed investigation, as most of the cases had been referred back to for further inquiries. Number two, reduced number of incoming cases from the police. Number three, understaffing also affected case disposal. That was the response.
So, whether we are serious that we are going to calculate these monies and put it on you. The balance for three. For us, we do unit cost. Each activity, it's like a wedding. You say you will do this, you will have this, you will have this. You have a unity cost for each act. That's how you come up with a budget. It can't be an assumption. And say now this output will take this amount of money and Parliament gives you. If your committee has been doing that poor job, here you are required to account for each unit cost. And I'm in the office of the planner because it's you who comes up with these figures. Then I go to your office where you spent the money and the activities were not done. We would have expected. And do you know how much money we are querying here about, madam? It is 23 billion for partial implementation. Not exactly that amount of money, but it's about 23 billion, but 70%, if I were to do the 95 activities done and I put a percentage here, I can come up with a rough figure. Because you just do 95 divide by 106, put 100%, input in that figure, and you get the amount of money you have to account to, or to account for. And that applies to, so let's also investigate you on that. Go item by item for your response. You are saying that files were not complete. You are a DPP. Before you commit a case to proceed to the High Court, and the essence of your office is there must be a prima facie case. You must be convinced that some work has been done. And you're saying these are incomplete files, you couldn't proceed with them. So why did you arrest people, align them in court? When your files are not complete? Yesterday I was with the judiciary. We have a total population in the prison of 79,000 in Mitwalo Musamvu. And why you have them is these your office's sanctions. Sanction is them, me I'm on sanction. They sanctioned, they convinced, they have some evidence, there is a case to answer. And you are saying these files, some of them are not complete. What did you sanction? Book to your accounts. You had a budget. You had a budget of 6.63 billion for vehicle acquisition. You bought vehicles for 8.112 billion, an excess of 1.4 billion. Where did you get it from?
Chair, unless there's a mistake in the final accounts. Chair,
did you buy vehicles under the year?
We did, and it was within the budget. Actually, we planned. So we bought cars within the money. We even had to reduce the number of cars to fit within the money that we had received.
How much did you pay for the vehicles?
Procurement officer, Barbara, do you remember the figure? Probably, Christine, help me. How much did we pay as per your final accounts?
As per the report, it shows that we paid 8.8. However, the actual money that we spent on motor vehicles was around 6 billion. But we had adjustments along the year, whereby the last financial year, we purchased motor vehicles using letters of credit, and they performed within this financial year. That's why we have an adjustment to increase by 8.8.
Is that true? Is that true? Okay. There you have escaped.
We cannot pay outside the budget.
No, we are seeing your budget was 6 billion,
yeah,
but your payment for vehicles and for you they are billion. So, explain, madam. That doesn't take.
Probably we can go back and check for the previous financial years if the then accounting office has requested for the money.
Just know now that this year, it's government, not even parliament. It's finance. that requested the Auditor General to do a special audit on pension and gratuity. And the recommendations, actually I only picked this one because I thought you needed to clarify. The rest you are not considering. We will adopt the Auditor General's recommendation as they are. We thought this would implicate you and you needed to speak to it. That's why we've raised it. Otherwise, we are not, if we leave it as it is and you don't explain, you know the implication. Wanda.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Can I request members that have come late to introduce themselves and be on record?
Chair, thank you. My name is the query. I think the auditor needed to rephrase or place accountability where it's due. If I do not ask for money and you send me money and I do not use it, the fault, I think, falls with the person who sent money that has not been requested for. What did they base on to put it in the supplementary? My view is that I think that needs to be revisited. What was their basis of that supplementary request?
The question, okay.
Yeah.
Let me listen to members.
But Chair, I've introduced myself. I'm called Isaac Mudoi. So should have written to seek clarification. And that would be a document that would be laid that I wrote to seek clarification about the monies that have been sent. And in so doing, then you seek guidance, but you don't just keep quiet. That's my view.
All right.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Evelyn Chemtai, MP Bukwa District. To that effect, Chair, I believe that thing should have been sorted out with the Auditor General during the exit meeting. If you had explained to the Auditor General, they should have sorted it out, the money that was given to them without request. Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I am Ababiku Jessica, woman MP, Ajuman District. I'm a member of this committee. Chair, my understanding is the period under review was only 1 year's period. But based on the explanation, they retrospectively and cumulatively did analysis for more than 1 year. So my view is we can give these people time to look at this cumulative money and address the issues in this query. Chair, thank you.
Okay.
When we're checking some of these things here, it makes it very difficult for the entity to succinctly tell us where the money for which particular financial year was put. Because if you lump it, they can also get confused. And when I get the accounting officer, the auditor here says that some monies were paid outside the system. Like in E4, that 759 million was paid outside. What informs you, and is that not a bridge of what you are supposed to do? Some people, some pensioners were paid, others have not been paid, 10 of them. Have they accessed? So I really ask, Chair, where possible, these people should go and maybe they could unpack this information, because when we are lumping it, and even the 700 and whatever could be which financial year, so that we really hit the nail on the head. Because if you put it as many as they are, that's why I can see this, we don't know, we did not ask, whatever. Even the process, like the accounting officer would even ask her, did you write back to the people who sent the money to your account that I have received this money, what is it for? Give us a guidance. Okay, we shall need also an evidence of that here. I am...
Then, Honorable colleague, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and colleagues. My name is Okot John Amos, a member of Parliament from Agago, North County. In the 11th, went to them for the period
which has been audited also. However, the money that their claims they never asked for but went to them and they kept quiet and utilized it, let the accountability be very clear and make the record clean. Otherwise, they have to refund that money. Because even in your bank, your personal bank account, if any money goes to your account without you knowing the source, you're supposed to give it back. If you utilize it, you'll be followed, you have to pay it back. So to me, the accounting officer has broken the law. They're supposed to refund this money back, or they have to, if they have not used it, then that would be much safer for them. But why don't you have to seek clarification of the money given to you? For the rest of the other years, which maybe you never restricted yourself to, but has already been audited, with the queries that has been pointed out, you have to explain, because all those are part of the information we need to get it. Otherwise, you have to be accountable for. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Segu.
We knew that there was 17 million for us as part of supplementary was when it was on our account. And I think it came in the fourth quarter. So we are not privy to the entire process of even the schedule of the supplementary. And we have our desk officer in the Ministry of Finance. So when we got the money, we called our desk officer to seek for clarification why we were being given that money and yet we didn't request for it.
And we didn't need it.
Yeah, and we didn't need it. And for clarity, member from Agago, we did not use the money, we returned it. Yes.
But Chair, I would actually ask that what can show us that you made a communication? What can prove to us
that you returned
that
the money
was returned?
Chair, if I can add on my colleague, what is the mode of communication? Do you write to seeking clarification or you call?
On this magnitude, where the Public Order Management Act is very clear, because there is a law for which you know they have offended. You just call and say, no, please, this money here.
Chair, I'm sorry, I must admit we did not write, but we made a phone call to the desk officer. No, we called.
Was it a WhatsApp call? So anyway, I think I just now, would you want to comment on, you know, we are moving forward, we've had you, the committee will evaluate your submission and make its conclusion. Do you want to make a comment on 4? The honorable colleague from Karamoja. Actually, I did not look at it as critical, but...
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'll look at the details of this 30. Like the auditor has explained, I think this is for a period of since 2019. Yeah, so Chair, this was when I was not even an accounting officer, but we can provide the details of who are these.
Don't hide under that. Don't hide under that longer period.
I'm sorry, Chair.
I don't think the auditor would have found a reason to carry on this audit query, knowing that the time that money was spent, the system was not functional. The only way is raising it, that it happened when there is a functional system and you operated outside the system. You would have underrated the auditor's intelligence so much to say it's referring to the other period.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, I will admit that sometimes we have pensioners whom we have to pay, but for one reason or another, probably because of the how do we call the numbers on the system, we find when they're not on the system. Oh, for example, I'll give an example. We get I was going to use a wrong example, because if this was only pension, then my example doesn't suffice. But I'll give an example of salary. I am promoted in May, or I am recruited, say, in May, and I am not on the system, and probably we have money and we are supposed to return it in June, and HR decides that we should pay maybe this pensioner this money instead of us returning it. So sometimes, I don't know which challenges they have with the IPPS then and the HCM. They come to me and say, this person is not on the system and we have to pay. But we still pay through a system of IFMS.
Yeah.
Not that we just pay directly to the person's account, but we still pay through the IFMS.
Sure.
But I will ask HR to explain why we're paying off the system.
Chair, some of us were victims, and I want to tell my colleagues on that side, I'm happy the chairman said it. We were one time on that side. We were some of us were even accounting officers. But you need to be to retire. Then you appreciate that while in the office, you should do the right thing at all times. So to me, I think you have correctly said this should go to your economic director of human resources, whatever, to explain. Unfortunately, Chair, it is happening through all the ministries, and they enjoy it until you retire. Then you decide, then you know what it means. Yeah, I'm happy that one of you retired and you said you should not be paid. I'm still too personal, because here you have people, but let the human resource manager maybe, as she said, explain us through, and we appreciate the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. What my accounting officer mentioned earlier on, these 30 cases, if you could permit, we could get the details and clearly why they were paid off the system and the years. When did this happen? Was it in 2020? Was it in 2021? But if I may say, we have been paying pensioners from the time I came to audit. We have been paying pensioners. Even those who have challenges, they are under IPPS and public service accepted. We can pay them on IPPS, those who have not migrated to the HCM, and the two systems have been running concurrently. So I really needed to get the details of this 30.
But Chair, the question that the auditor sustained the query, I'm sure they interacted with you. And when you interacted, maybe it failed to dispose it off, and that's why it sustained, find itself here. Does it mean that when the auditor was there with you, you did not ask for that information? Because the sustaining it means that there you failed to resolve it internally, and then eventually I said, okay, fine, let it go to Parliament.
Chair, I really want to ask the human resource. Do you acknowledge that people who are paid outside the payroll, the system? Because out of the 814, these almost 3/4 of the money was paid outside. What informs you? Which authority did you get? And when you are saying you want to go and check in the system, and you are saying you have been paying them through the IPPS, is this ghost that you are not aware? Because getting the number is not very important, but do you acknowledge you have been paying people outside the system?
And Honorable Chair, how I wish this can also be brought on board, because we had a complaint of pension and gratuity and the underutilization of warrants. The same question, where colleagues were not paid their pension because of delays. The query was because of failure to process these files in time. PS, you were with us last time when you came to the committee. The same issues came up. Issues of delays in pension, payment of pension and gratuity. For me, I thought that when somebody is still in active service, once they retire, automatically they qualify to access their pension. And I don't know, you need to explain to us these kind of files. What is the process that leads to, you know, somebody across the financial year for you to fail to pay somebody because of processing a file? Which kind of file is this? Honorable Chair, our colleagues out there are suffering. Pension is something that, you know, he has ably said it. When you get there, it's when you can appreciate how important that money is to a person who has hardly worked for all those years and has retired. So, Honorable Chair, how I wish you also add on this issue of underutilization of funds. It was under 2.31 under the area of gratuity and pension because of delay in processing of files. And who is responsible for processing these files?
Madam, do you have anything to say? There is this, Honorable colleague, this is the special audit done by the Auditor General. It's, you know, the Auditor General has changed the way he reports. If he's reporting on an entity and there was a special audit, it is attached. And we adopt it the same way. The reason why this is important for you, that if you don't clarify some of these things, we are likely to adopt that report as is, because it has been done with some level of exactness. So do you have anything to say, or you admit and proceed?
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, members and the Vice Chairperson. For the 6 staff mentioned here, all these, they were staff that died. So we budgeted to pay their pension. However, and gratuity. However, their families have conflict on who should be the beneficiary, or whom should we pay. So that process of them having the family meetings and communicating to us whom we should pay is what delayed us from paying. And actually, most of them we've still not paid, apart from one whom finally they came and they resolved their issues and we have paid. So these were staff that died, not that they retired during the course of the financial year.
Chair.
Madam,
Chair.
Yes, don't you think as we proceed with some, you know, these engagements inform changes in policy, even changes in the way we administratively do things?
Yes.
Now, because for me, I know this side of us, when it comes to pension, you put a next of kin.
Yes.
I don't know what happens that side. Is it open that when somebody dies, you have to fidget on finding who gets the money? Because if that is the case, then we need to push for, could be reforms on how people access pension, on how when you die, who should access your money, so that it is filled the time you join service. All of you will suffer the same. So if that is the case, push for some of these changes to save ourselves the burden of suffering, going through the same consequences. Your family, I don't wish you to die, but you can also die. But your family will suffer the same consequence. So we need to look through it. How do we amend to ensure that we don't go through such circus?
Chair, I think,
thank you.
Chair,
Clear information yet, because they have just stated that they don't know about it. And further, they are asking that probably we could give them the list. So my question is, wasn't this matter, this gentleman, the one who has just responded, saying that they need to know the list of the 30 people who were paid off the system? So my question is, didn't they discuss this thing at the time of the exit meeting? If so, can they give us evidence of what they presented or the clarity they sought? Because we are not going to do the auditing retrospectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We said you give us more time to give you the details of the 30 people we paid. However,
How much time
this
do you
special audit, Chair, we can provide information by Tuesday.
Chair, how different is it? Does it mean that they did not know about the 30? Because giving more time for what? Didn't they analyze the issues in this question? Why should we give them more time? Let it come out clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an opinion from...
Chair, this report, this special audit report, SECA small report, It was just delivered to my office. I don't remember us discussing it with the auditors, but they forwarded it to me and we accepted it. We didn't have a discussion of the draft
Chair,
report.
that shows how unserious MPs take our issues over these matters, because people to receive reports, they keep them, Parliament writes to them. When they come here, they want us to give more time for them. That shows that they don't take these things serious. Because if you take something serious, you prepare for it. Thank you.
Chair, is it in order for the accounting officer to call a report a report?
she was speaking Luganda.
Chair, that was just...
Chair, I withdraw. I'm sorry, I withdraw. But I was meaning it is small.
But,
accounting officer,
but colleagues, we committed to have, the question why I'm keeping these sessions short and precise is that we want to deal with this audit very fast, especially members of the NRM. You are about to go for your party primaries, to be very busy, so I intend to really speed up this process to free you.
Chair, sure. Are you the NRM?
So no, I'm just giving you...
Chairman,
I want you to retire.
Like you who doesn't go to primaries.
No, we do, but of a different nature. Yes. So that's why I'm like, let's speed up for these processes.
Yeah, but let's do our work, not looking at those things. Otherwise, we shall do nothing.
It is also important, Madam Sarah.
If you keep telling us, then we shall not settle here.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I will not remind you again. I've just commented on it. So, honorable colleagues.
Chair.
Yes.
Chair, I was trying to say, I presume that they are given the queries in advance. And when they are given time to make responses, to get the necessary evidence of their defense, such that when we are meeting, they don't give the time. There's no time to, their allocation is now. They should be either they answer it or they concede the audit query. Because this business of saying we are going to give us what is not there.
Okay, honorable colleagues. So, Madam, the time is now.
Thank you, Chair. Human Capital Management System from the IPPS. So we are now paying our salaries using the HCM, but we have a few challenges. When we migrated staff, we noticed that anomaly where somebody is paid less by 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. And we are trying to handle and harmonize this with Ministry of Public Service. It's a system glitch that we are trying to make sure we handle with the Ministry of Public Service.
Okay, thank you. Can I proceed on another query? Did you do environments under there?
Yes, Chair, we did.
You have authorization letters?
Yes, Chair.
Where are they on table?
Chair, we didn't carry, but we have clearance from Ministry of Finance. We wired for the DPP to travel and for our assistant DPP who represented the country in the meetings for under financial intelligence, where we're in the gray area.
But the costs of the first environment for that critical activity abroad, which I think is a critical activity, the environment is huge. For that one or two travel is 540 million.
So it was for the whole financial year.
No, this is is it in one quarter? In one quarter. And in quarter two, you wired another 677 for the annual prosecutors symposium.
Yes, Chair.
And you are getting this money off critical activities. That's why when we asked you, where did you put the money for the other activities? You are saying, no, we didn't do.
Yeah, that was a small percentage.
No, this is over $1 billion.
Yes, sir.
So this is over $1 billion. And when he asked you, please, why did not you do these cases? You wasted a lot of our time. Well knowing you wired even some money under recurrent. And this was meant for some activities. Really. You thought you did not go to school, we will not see the things. So really.
Chair, it is true we wired money, like I've explained. 500 was, we used it across the financial year.
We need evidence, and this evidence environment, you know, it needs to speak to the dictates of the Public Finance Management Act.
Yes,
From
sir.
where you pick the money, you are supposed to pick 10. Is it 10%?
Yes, sir.
10% from its activity.
Yes,
and
sir.
you need authorization by the minister.
Yes, sir. We have it.
Where is it?
We shall bring it today.
So, but this trouble is 500 is a lot of money. Then another 600. This symposium was about what?
Sir, that was the Prosecutor's Symposium and the Joan Kagezi Memorial. Chair and members, you need to remember that we had a freeze on workshops. So we do not budget for workshops. So we had the Joan Kagezi Memorial, and actually the president was our chief guest, and we did not have money under workshops. So we had to write to Ministry of Finance to allow us to move some money to take care of that activity. Now, the prosecutors also gather annually once, and they discuss the issues that affect their work. So that is the symposium. They meet like for 2 days, then we crown
Do
it.
you know how it hurts looking at the performance? Do you know how it hurts? Is that people remain on remand. And these things happen. And we go for a symposium. And this symposium was predictable. Why didn't you budget for it?
Chair, like I said, the item was
It is
frozen.
known, it is an annual event.
Yes, but the
It's
item
known.
is frozen.
If it is frozen, why do you have it? At the expense of your work. If you don't have it, the year doesn't end. Really, in Uganda, we go for goody things. If we skip 1 year for lack of finance, what does happen? Kagezi doesn't go to heaven.
Yeah, but
for
here
this-
I
for
would
this
ask
financial
I would
year-
ask the accounting officer to bring that to show the permission that the Ministry of Finance directed that you
Authorized.
freeze. Yes.
Chair, we have it. We shall bring today.
And maybe to add on how the 500 was spent, because it looks very, very high.
Chair, we didn't even spend the entire 500. We didn't. Right? Accounts? We didn't spend even the entire 500 because we didn't again receive all the money, so we didn't.
So can we also say, because Honorable back to 2.5, and you know the magnitude of your challenge. 2.5 is picked up on the review of the annual casework performance for the year that ended. Your total cases, okay? Your total cases for, you are the target to do, this is your target. Your target was to do 200,000 cases. Cases to be procured. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then we did, what is the new column? New criminal cases. No, actual, you did 195 out of a target of 200,000 cases. You did 195. The difference is 4,000. Now, let's proceed. New criminal cases perused.
Yes, sir.
This is for just perusal.
Yes, sir.
Your target was 120 cases. You did 97. A balance of 22,000 cases. New cases sanctioned for prostitution. Your target was 80,000. You did 61, a balance of 18. New cases committed for trial to High Court. You had a target of 5,000. You did 1,090. This is, we dealt with it. You did 1,000. And criminal cases handled through prostitution led. You had the target of 150. You did 140. Now, this is your case, your performance. And for you to do these cases, you need resources. Now, these resources, you via them to travel abroad to organize annual symposiums. And your scorecard leads as is. Honorable colleagues, do you have a comment?
You plan for the country, you plan for us.
Core of why the DPP exists. And if you take interest into why they did not execute their mandate as planned, one of the challenges is inadequate data collection. The other challenge is high case dismissal under daily hearing project. The other one is poor investigation. The other one is delayed release of funds for session. The other one is lack of office equipment. And I'll say, in addition, I'll say lack of personnel. Because, Honorable Chair, when you go to 2.81, the DDP staffing is at 38%. They have a structure of 1,482 staff, and they only have 577. Honorable colleagues, this is purely unacceptable. The last time you appeared here, this was one of the colleagues that was highly raised. Honorable Chair, we cannot have the office of the DPP understaffed at 38%. This is very unacceptable, honorable colleagues. And Honorable Chair, from this, I would propose that there are items that we are not going to wait for a treasury memoranda. This one must be addressed in the plenary immediately, because that is the reason as to why people have not got justice in time. So if there is a matter that is going to be handled as soon as today, is the matter of understaffing in the office of the DDP. However, she has to come back and answer some of these other issues that have been raised. For example, inadequate data collection, high case dismissal, under hearing, at least for those ones, poor investigation. Where does the problem arise?
Yes.
Chair.